Questions. I guess I just don't know how this happened, how Goldberg ended up in the group chat. Why does Michael Waltz have his number? And then, they were texting for a while. Why didn't anyone notice? Do you have answers to any of those questions, Senator?
Well, of course, I can't answer for Mike. I'll tell you that the cabinet and the people that the president surrounded himself around are outstanding individuals. And Mike is a dear friend of mine, someone that I would trust with my life, someone that I'll go on a foxhole with any given time. A mistake happened, but it's being blown way out of proportion. People have been comparing this, Rob, to Hillary Clinton's emails, that if you spoke out against Hillary Clinton's emails, you better be speaking out against this Signal chat. There's a huge difference between the two. There was zero classified information held on this group chat. There was no classified information that was shared on this group chat. Unlike the Hillarys, there was TS, there was TSSCI, meaning top secret, that are very sensitive material that was served. But the media, the left media, is blowing this thing out of proportion. How he got added, who knows how he got added. The fact is, I'm glad that this cabinet and the people that President Trump has surrounded himself with was having an open discussion on a very serious issue, and they chose to act. Unlike Biden and his administration over the last 2 years, when our warships got attacked 174 times, literally sat on their hands and did nothing. But, it still should have never happened, but it did, and let's move on.
I actually think, so Senator, this is a nothing story to me. I mean, for sake of the story, I'd like to know.
Agreed.
I know Michael Waltz. I was in Florida before I came to Newsmax. I would like to know if he actually has Jeffrey Goldberg's number. Because look, I've got the numbers of a lot of prominent politicians and people in the media, but generally speaking, they're all Republicans and work in conservative media. I don't know why he would ever need to have an exchange with Jeffrey Goldberg, who's the worst of the worst. But one of the positives here, Senator,
sure,
and I'll let you answer that, is that these text messages, look, when we have J.D. Vance on or Pete Hegseth on and they say one thing to the camera, guess what? I've got the text messages right here. They're texting the exact same thing to each other. Here's J.D. Vance to Pete Hegseth. Here's the war plans. If you think we should go, let's do it. I just hate bailing out Europe again. Let's just make sure our messaging is still tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Pete Hegseth to J.D. Vance, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Guess what? That's exactly how they'd respond to that question if I asked them here on the show. And I thought that was a good thing.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see that they're having open conversation about this, and it's unusual that the American people get to see this side, but it's refreshing at the same time. People should be proud of the process that actually took place. Now, at the same time, how did Jeffrey get added? I could speculate about it. I've entered people wrong in my contacts. I've had missed numbers from someone that I didn't answer because I didn't recognize it. Someone else calls me. I go back later to enter their phone number. I put it in wrong. It could have been one of those because, unfortunately, people do share your phone number with reporters. Right. It happens to me all the time. It happened to me this weekend that someone shared a number with a reporter that I didn't want to be calling. It's a possibility. I'm sure it'll be investigated. But there's really no reason to investigate it. As I said, there was no classified information being shared here. It was happening on Signal. I'm part of a lot of Signal group chats. I don't necessarily know if I recognize every number on there, but I'm probably guilty of not pushing the button to find out who's all on this group chat. I promise you, I will be very thorough about that. In fact, I told my team I went through and I've changed my footprint on Signal and WhatsApp. Yeah, well, who does?
Right.
But I promise you I will now, because you're just going to be a lot more careful about it. At the end of the day, as you said, Rob, this was a very interesting open conversation that they talked like this to the American people. There is no two-face here. You saw leaders of this nation that was making an important decision that was having the same conversation as you said, like they would with you and I in private or in public. And it's refreshing to see that.
Is it a one-day story? I mean, my contention all day, and I've heard from both sides, and there are conservatives out there that think this is a huge story. I read Mark Halperin's newsletter this morning, and he said this was, one of the worst stories for Republicans in a long time. And I'm scratching my head saying, nothing happened. except to the Houthis, and that was the plan
Nothing.
all along.
That's right.
I don't get it. It was a
What
mistake.
we did is we kicked the teeth in, yes, but we kicked the teeth in of the Houthis. That's what the story should be about. The left is clamoring over this because what the left is saying is now it's taken away attention of the Democrats that are falling apart. It's taken away the attention of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries losing control of their party. It takes away the attention of the CNBC and the CBS poll that came out and had Democrats' numbers at 27 and 29%
right.
with the American people on favorabilities. So that's the story that they're trying to cover up, and they're trying to use, as you said, Rob, the nothing story right here. There wasn't anything wrong with the conversation they had. It was a conversation, and it was over an important issue. What happened at the end of this is that they chose to act on something the Biden administration chose to ignore. Keep in mind, we've talked about the 174 Navy ships, or 174 times they attacked our Navy ships in the region. What we didn't talk about is 145 ships that they attacked that were private selling individuals and ships that were hauling goods. Right? And so they didn't discuss those. And they didn't discuss the fact that because of that, it cost an extra $10 million to get the product to the same place because it's $1 million a day added to go around. And it's a 10-day journey to go around to where they had to go. That's inflation right there.
Yeah, great point,
the president and his administration did something about it.
Senator, just a quick one. Two quick ones, if we could. Wyatt Hendrickson, from your home state of Oklahoma. Look, he gave you a bigger hug.
Yeah.
He gave you a bigger hug than he gave Donald Trump.
Yeah. Wyatt and I have known each other for some time now.
I know.
My boys wrestled Oklahoma State. Yeah. No, but I know that. But I mean, Wyatt is a great young man. He's a young man that every one of us should want our kids to grow up to be around.
Totally.
I'm glad that my boys consider him a friend. Not only is he an outstanding athlete, but he's an outstanding Christian young man too that sets an example. And I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of him. He's actually from Newton, Kansas. We were privileged enough to bring him after he graduated from the Air Force Academy to get him Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more proud of the young man and the type of people that raised him. His dad is a doctor up in Newton, Kansas. His mom's just a salty earth individual, and they're true patriots. The whole family's true patriots through and through.
Yeah, it was great just the emotion. I could feel it, watching it on TV from you and certainly from
How about
the
that
president
salute?
As well. It was really unbelievable. That was a special experience. By the way, Donald Trump is the only politician in America that could do that. There's no Democrat in the country that could do that and get that reaction from both the athletes and the crowd. Senator Markwayne Mullin, appreciate you joining us tonight. Great to see you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, coming up.